Hello, welcome to part 3 of this Game Over Gerkinman Wind Waker HD playthrough. This is, of course, Gerkinman, the guy calling the shots and running the show. This week we have 2 guests. Kindly introduce yourselves in whichever order you choose.
Well, I'll go first. I'm Carbon Water. I make animations and record videos like this, except I'm not recording.
Well then. Hi, I'm Namir. I make videos about video games. Awesome.
Vidges about video games. Yeah, game comedy, folks, right there. Okay, so we're on Windfall Island.
Yeah.
I think this is the moment in the game where I first noticed the ridiculous amounts of bloom lighting, as you can see here on Mr. Afro Man.
His name is Antoine.
Is it really?
His name is
Yes, it
Disco
is.
Stew.
I did not know that. I always called this
He's
guy
from The
Disco Stew.
Simpsons. He's a Simpsons parody.
He does look out of place. I'm glad he's there, but he does look incredibly out of place. I was going to answer some questions that were brought up last week, but before that, someone very important is going to be introduced in a moment.
Oh, the best character in all of Zelda.
Best character in the Zelda universe. That's right. Our good
I don't know
friend,
about that.
good friend Tingle. Who has it? When was the last time he made an appearance?
After this?
Yeah, after this.
That one balloon fight game that was only in Japan.
Yeah, I heard that game wasn't
we
that
just-
great.
I like how he does the pose too. It's beautiful.
Everything about Tingle's beautiful.
I don't know what he's been in
It
since.
could have been, was it Rupee Blast or whatever it was?
Yeah, he had a couple of games that were Japan exclusive only. So
He just
I didn't
makes me
know that.
think of the Katamari guy.
He is a bit like the Katamari guy, particularly in this game. You look at him in Majora's
Yeah.
Mask and he looks horrifically creepy.
Yeah,
He's
he
much
genuinely
cuter in
looks
this
like
game.
yeah. Well, that has to go with the cartoony.
Yeah, cartoony art fixed him quite a bit.
plus it was, his first design, so it's like, okay, let's introduce this character. And he kind of looks like this. That's okay, I suppose.
Well, you know the story of where his looks came from, right?
Nope.
He's a caricature of Koji Kondo.
Oh yeah, that's right. I know
Yeah.
that. Wink.
Here's a picture of Koji Kondo and Tingle side by side.
Put that
Bam.
picture up.
Bam.
Yeah.
Wham
Wow.
bam.
Just
Thank
like
you,
that.
ma'am.
The more you know.
The more you know. So there you have it. There's some facts. This crawling mechanic that was introduced in Ocarina of Time, wasn't it? Oh no.
No.
Not like this. I think you could crawl through little holes and then you get back up again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah.
And I
But it was
hated
like,
it.
It wasn't
let's go into
as,
first person because we don't want to animate Link crawling.
Well, I actually kind of prefer the first person because you can see where you're going, which would have helped in this situation where you can't see
You
anything.
can go in first person mode whenever you're crawling like this.
How do you do it?
I don't know how you do it on the Wii U. I just know how to do it on the
How
GameCube.
did you do it on the GameCube?
You press C up,
Really?
and it puts you in first person mode.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Learning things all the time.
And apparently you crawl just a little bit faster whenever you go into that mode.
Huh.
At least I believe so. Yeah.
There you go. Maybe because it
Correct
doesn't
me
have
if I'm
to
wrong.
render. Doesn't have to render Link, so the frame rate speeds up. Actually, this is a completely different game, but speaking of frame rates, I remember as a kid with Mario Kart 64, DK's jungle always looked really, really fast
Yeah.
in split screen, and I never understood why. Until years later, that I realized it's because the frame rate was getting absolutely hammered, and it's only showing like every second frame, so you look like you were traveling a lot faster than you were.
That's why the thing happened. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, frame rates are a magical thing. I like those little mushrooms there. I don't know if they're anywhere else in the game, but I appreciate their presence there. I did not use the Picto Box at all in this playthrough, although that was the big new feature they introduced into this game, was the ability to take selfies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best.
And there was that beautiful video going around Tumblr a little bit ago. Somebody pissing around with the selfie feature. They made a music video. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was pretty
Oh,
cool.
why am I not surprised?
I was almost thinking, like, when I do my Majora's Mask playthrough, I was going to do something similar with Chimeras Mask, just, like, record myself using it in all these different places and then just speed it up so it goes in time with some rap music and put that out.
Yeah. Make sure to put that Linkin Park in the background.
Yeah, I don't think I would use Linkin Park. I'd probably use something
Watch
good.
your words.
Good.
Rude.
All
right,
what are
so-
we doing? Yes, we need a sale.
What was your the question that you had to
Oh
answer?
yes, the question
last-
I had to answer that was raised last week, and it seemed appropriate earlier on when the bloom was all in your face, was what was the deal with the bloom lighting and why did they add it in? From my research, I dug up, all I could dig up is that Nintendo wanted to add a surreal realism.
Surreal realism.
Surreal realism. That was the quote
Really?
to the game. I'm going to underline it on my notepad here. Surreal realism.
You heard it here first.
Really?
You heard it here. I picked that article came out months ago. And then like the idea, but what the bloom lighting allowed them to do, that lighting engine, was it allowed the backgrounds to reflect the colors of the lighting around them, which was something the GameCube couldn't do. So if there's a torch near a wall, it lights up the wall in orange color instead of just putting like a orange shape on it. And that's what that was all about. That's all I could dig up.
It couldn't have been that they just went, a little happy with it.
I would say that they maybe went a little overboard with it.
Let's just add this
Yeah.
thing and see what happens. Oh, it looks kind of cool. Let's keep that.
Let's do it everywhere.
There's bloom everywhere.
You get bloom lighting, and you get bloom lighting, and you get bloom
Can we
lighting.
do that?
Everybody
Can the
gets
system
bloom
handle it? Well, it can now.
I can imagine
Yeah,
Enuma like up on
technology.
standing on the table with like a wand, like you got it, and is like shooting and bloom lighting out of his magical Nintendo wand at the developers.
I want a magical Nintendo wand.
This
Where do I-
Eskimo guy
those?
here, he's interesting because
Sign?
there's no one else wearing cold weather clothing in the game.
It's because he's used to it.
It's because he's used to it.
Maybe.
They explored that
maybe.
in Phantom Hourglass, I believe.
Oh, never mind then.
What was your theory?
I was gonna say maybe they're gonna make a game where this guy's people is prevalent, but never mind.
Yeah, they
guess-
live on an island. There's a whole island full of Eskimos. Oh wait, no, were they Eskimos? Or maybe I'm thinking of Spirit Tracks, where that had like monsters that lived on a snowy island. I don't know about Phantom Hourglass.
You saying that Eskimos are a race?
I'm saying that
That's what
Zelda
you're saying.
Eskimos are a race.
Oh,
They're probably
that
not
sounds-
Hylians.
Considering there are Eskimos that live in, Canada.
What, that guy? That guy's from Canada.
Yes. Yeah, see, that's just it. He did say he came from a land in the north, did he not?
Faraway land in the north.
This guy's so
Oh.
creepy
You got caught.
I think he used to be a priest.
with his liver spots.
An alcoholic priest.
Makes sense.
So we've got the sail, which means that we're going to go sailing, which I guess is a pretty big thing. That was a big thing that they introduced into this game. That
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How can we turn down loading times? Add a shitload of space where nothing happens.
That's right. Streaming that sort of information on the GameCube with its tiny little discs, which should have made it
Yeah.
easier, is a lot of work. I believe.
But I don't know. I can talk forever about how I don't mind the sailing in this game, but
Yeah. Well, I think we had a small chat about the sailing in the last episode, but this is the 1st time we actually get to go sailing. I will say that I very much enjoyed the Swift Sail once I got it. Getting it was a pain in the buttocks there.
we'll get
This
to
is
that.
the other
very
part
soon.
where the bloom lighting was kind of a pain. You used to be able to see the silhouettes of the islands in the distance, and now they're all kind of like fogged out.
Yeah,
But I-
because wasn't it in the GameCube version? It just loaded a black outline while it was loading.
Yeah,
out,
it loaded like
so-
a 2D flat
Yeah.
image, and then as it got
Yeah.
closer, it swapped it out with a
Yep.
model.
Oh man, this music.
Yeah, best track in the game, I would say.
I agree.
Download the OST today.
Did they re-release the OST for this game?
I don't know.
They
maybe.
they fiddled with it.
Check your local
I know
iTunes
with
store.
I know with Skyward Sword there was a copy of it wasn't just Zelda music. It was like an orchestrated Nintendo CD.
No,
So, like,
no, I've got that. It's orchestral renditions of a whole bunch. Like it's not just Skyward
Yeah, that's
Sword.
what I
It's
just
rendition.
said.
No, you said Nintendo. It's well, I guess it all is Nintendo, but it's different Zelda games. It's not whole
Yeah,
franchise.
wasn't
It's not.
that
No, there's.
tour
It's
that
not
they
just
did?
Zelda games. Is it?
Yeah, it's
With
just Zelda music.
Yeah, where they
Oh.
went around the world and played all the music, and people were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pay for that."
Did they
Yeah.
come here to do that? Because I actually wanted to go to that.
Yeah, it was in Sydney though.
I'm not flying to
They
Sydney.
came
for
here.
So, I didn't get to go see it.
Well, they were
because
in
it's
Montreal.
Sydney.
I was very upset that I didn't get to go.
it. Yeah, I couldn't justify flying all the way to Sydney to. I wouldn't have had
Yeah.
anyone in Sydney to go see with. I don't know anyone in Sydney.
Oh, well.
If you're in
Well, see, it was
Sydney
only
and
like
they
an
come
hour and a
back,
half drive for me, but
yeah.
I listened to it all on YouTube anyway, so
Oh,
I got the full experience, I guess, without the atmosphere of other people.
yeah. Well, like I saw video games live, when they came around here, and it was awesome. And they played some Zelda music and stuff. That was definitely an experience. I don't know, some stuff like that. It's just
Tommy Tallarico's still running that, isn't he?
yes. I
We'll
believe
have to
so.
have a Tommy Tallarico appreciation video at some point.
But I don't know, stuff like that. It's while it's nice to just listen to it on your own, it's really fun to experience it with like a huge group of people who are of like-minded people, you know,
Yeah,
because they appreciate it just as much as you do.
I did.
Obviously, otherwise you'd be there. But
I did read a couple of reviews.
one note? That was the best part. I loved that part.
There was.
Mhm.
I read a couple of reviews that are actually kind of like pissy about the Zelda fans because like it's if you've ever gone to see an orchestra perform, it's not something you yell and cheer and scream over.
well,
And
no,
so,
but
like, they
it's
start playing a tune and then they'd all go nuts, and it's like, shh, I can't hear the subtle orchestralizations because you're being loud, obnoxious people over it.
Mm.
the thing is, like, whenever you get a group of video game nerds and you decide to play orchestrated versions of songs from favorite video games, you're gonna get people who are hooting and hollering, you know?
Yeah,
That's just the thing. You know,
It's
and I
that
think
one
in
song that I heard in the video game, except it's not in the video game. That's like the best thing ever.
I just think I don't know, I don't know. It's almost expected that you cheer about it. Because, like, whenever we were cheering and, like, you know, being crazed fans about it, you could see the people in the orchestra smiling, and you could see the
Yeah.
maestros even, like, grinning about it. Like, he was, you know, because they're playing it because, you know, they wanted to.
yeah.
So they appreciate
I'm
that
sure
sort
the
of
people
stuff.
who
Now,
are
if
in
you're
video
going to
games
see,
live
like,
are all like video games fans that
Yeah.
were traveling, whereas the Zelda one was like a maestro that was just traveling around with a rented. Every time they got to a new country, they'd have to rent out another
yeah.
orchestra. I think that's where the difference is.
Yeah, whereas, like, if you're gonna go see Beethoven or something, then no, don't fucking make a dick of yourself, you know? Oh, and here's Link in his little sassy pose.
Where?
I love how sassy... Right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Well,
I love how sassy... Girl.
Hands on the hips.
Girl.
I like the way that frog laughs
You
for
would-
no reason. He's like, congratulations, you can control the wind. And then you never see him again.
he does it randomly for the lols.
Yeah, just for the lulz.
Oh dear.
I noticed your tingle bottle now says 1 again, even though you've picked up 2. Did you
Really?
cut out where you looked at it?
Maybe.
Oh.
Because it comes up on the gamepad, not on the TV when you're playing on
Ah,
the Wii
I
U
see.
gamepad, so there'd be no point. That would be silly.
Well, well, I'm playing it with just the Pro Controller and it comes up on the TV.
That's something that we could talk about, well, between the two of us at least, is the, yeah, so I played through this entire game on the Wii U gamepad. I do not have the Pro Controller. That Wii U gamepad is massive.
Yep.
But it's not uncomfortable. But I did find myself pressing the wrong buttons from time to time, which is either because of muscle memory, because I've played through this game so many times, or just because there's something about that controller.
It's too weird, it's too wide. It just
Well, it's
feels
gotta fit that
strange.
screen. I do like the way the sticks feel, though.
Yeah. Well, there's the exact same sticks on the Pro Controller, so...
See, I haven't held the Pro Controller. It looks a lot like the 360 controller to me,
Yeah,
which I
pretty
guess
much it is.
is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it has, backwards buttons because of, the Super Nintendo, so...
Oh, yeah. Concave instead of
It's like Why did they
Oh,
put the A
convex.
button in the wrong place? They should just follow the standard that that Xbox set, even though Nintendo set it like 20 years ago.
That's true, Microsoft even used the same colours, didn't they? Here we go. So we've got some bird people here. This was a question. This was a question for the ages.
Why did they make the Zora evolve into birds?
Yes.
Oh,
This is a question that has plagued the
Because
minds of nerds since
there would-
10
Forever.
years.
They'd be in the water, and you drown in water, so to talk to them, you have to drown yourself.
I don't think that's the reason.
I think it's the reason.
No. No. It's like those people who think that, you know, the reason why was because Zora couldn't live in salt water because they're
Right.
freshwater dwelling fish people, but they're not, because you see saltwater Zora in like Majora's Mask and I believe the Oracle's games as well. So
Yes.
for all you fanboys out there who think that that's the reason, shove it. Because it's not.
Well, they
Jess
create
is
their
bringing
own
the facts.
organic infiltration system, which automatically turns all the salt water into fresh water.
Yeah, because that technology would be available in, you know, Hylian times.
Prove that it's not. Exactly.
Totally.
Okay. Jess is
actually,
gonna bring the lowdown.
Yeah, I actually found a theory, because that's something that always plagued my mind too. Like, why, you know, it's an ocean, it's a land of water. Why would they turn fish into birds? I actually did some research and I found a really good theory. And the theory behind it is divine intervention. So, as we know, the gods sealed and flooded Hyrule.
That's
For
correct.
a reason, right? Like, they didn't want the reason why they flooded it was because they didn't want anybody to come across the ruins of the old Hyrule. So Zora's swim. Chances are, if you were a Zora and you just felt like going for a swim one day, you might come across this castle and be like, "Well, what the hell?"
Nah.
So the gods didn't want that. So they took away their swimming ability, or their ability to swim at least, forcing them to land, and, you know, thus forcing them to use items like grappling hooks and hook shots and stuff like that. Which is why, you know, whenever Medley gives you the grappling hook, she says, "This is what my people used before we got wings," you know. So that kind of makes sense.
Does.
Yeah, and then furthermore with that,
We're getting
we'll
real
see
deep
it in
now.
a minute. Yeah, we'll see it in a minute whenever we see Medley and Kamali in a minute. But they have the Zora Sapphire insignia on their clothes. Like, Medley has it on her little shirt apron thing, and Kamali has it on a necklace. So, as we all know, the Zoras in Ocarina of Time, they worship Jabu Jabu.
That's correct.
But Jabu Jabu fled during Ganondorf's reign in Ocarina of Time.
So that's when you go to the ice cavern.
Yeah. So, you know, the Zoras needed a new god to worship, somebody new to worship. And then they found Velu, who gave them wings.
Wasn't there
And
some
plus they-
connection between Velu and Volvagia?
No. Maybe like a fan theory, but
I'll look that up for next
not
week.
that I know of. So, you know, like so yeah, even though they have Din's Pearl now, right? In Wind Waker?
It's correct.
Yeah. So it's like, even though they now worship a new god who has, you know, obviously a different, I'd say, look on things compared to Jabu Jabu, it's like, even though they still have the insignia of the Zora Sapphire, it's like they know, even though that they scrapped their way of living and their way of life and what they believe, they're still aware of what and who they used to be. So, like, as you can see there on Medley's shirt, she has the emblem, the insignia there, the
Biohazard
biohazard
symbol.
sign.
I just assumed
But
it was
so-
a biohazard because they all mutated.
Well, no, because they weren't mutated; they evolved.
And
Much like
mutated by
the-
the gods.
Exactly, because of
Doesn't
divine
evolution
intervention.
take billions of years?
Yeah, but this
Well-
is a video game and a Nintendo game at that. You know, like
Yeah.
the length of time between each Zelda game is like 50 to 100 years, but the whole world seems to forget about everything in that time.
Yeah. So that was a theory that I came across, and I actually really like that theory because it makes sense. Because the gods didn't want the old Hyrule to be found, which has been stated. It's canon that they didn't want it to be found, which is why they flooded it. So the fact that Zoras could swim, well, gonna have to do something about that. Let's take away your ability to either breathe underwater or just swim in general, which then forced them to land. Plus, you know that they evolved because there are a lot of likenesses between the Zora and the Rito. For example, their wings, the wings of a Rito and the fins of a Zora, which are they're both at about elbow length. They both disappear, like they can be put away, I guess, when they have to be. Their beaks and the Zora's noses. The Zoras had that fin on their head, whereas the Zoras have like that little hairdo, that little whooshy updo, if you
I
will.
mean, the Rito have the little fluffy do.
That's what I said. Yeah, the Rito have the. That's what I meant. Sorry, that the Rito have that little blue whatever, and then the eyes as well. The Zoras had a very cat eye, like, what's the word I'm looking for there? Line, I guess you would say, to their eye shape, whereas the Rito have that red line that goes across. Not him.
But that guy, bad example.
Everybody but that guy. Plus the Zoras had really big noses and that looked like beaks. And the Rito have beaks because they're birds. But yeah, so it's actually quite interesting.
Fan theories are interesting.
Maybe that's where they were going.
I'd love to know what Nintendo's justification is. I reckon they probably just designed bird people. And then we're like,
And then-
how do we connect these things?
Maybe they just wanted to put birds in because they thought it was cool.
Birds are totally
Maybe.
cool.
Either
Oh,
way,
we
that's
can't
still
have birds and fish in the
weird.
same game. Fuck the fish. Get them
No,
the fuck out of there.
Yeah. But
I think-
still definitely an interesting theory.
I think with a lot of Zelda games, they design the characters first, and then they have to try to work out. They're like, I like him. How do we work him into the into the timeline?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the way they work. They wouldn't do it the other way.
People are
around.
gonna get mad. Oh, they're gonna get mad anyway. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's true.
There are absolutely no holes in the timeline supplied in the Hyrule Historia, which has only gotten more complicated since it came out,
Yeah.
thanks to.
And even though they've already stated the official timeline, they're still making more games. So where the fuck does they go in the timeline? I don't know. At the top? Sure, why not?
Yeah, they just have to keep releasing timelines. Like, a timeline would have been a better idea whenever they were done making Zelda games. Like,
Can't
forever.
wait for that new
They're never gonna
Hyrule
be done
Historia that's
making
going to be
Zelda
coming
games,
out every
'cause-
8 years from now with an updated version.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're never going to be done making Zelda games because they make money.
Of course.
That's true.
Do you think?
But,
Do you think that Nintendo will ever trust an external studio with Zelda?
Nope,
No.
remember last time that happened? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy!
Because
I can't wait to
bump
some
some
dongos.
dongos.
It's beautiful.
I wonder
I don't know if
what
that's
game
true, 'cause-
it's up to.
I was actually I was watching a Rareware retrospective the other day, and apparently Nintendo was in talks with Rare back in the day about developing a new Zelda game. But then Rare turned it down because they didn't think they could do it justice.
Yeah, that's kind of fair.
Well,
But there was always that kind of like glimmer of hope among Metroid Prime fans, at least, that Nintendo would let Retro Studios have a go at making a Zelda game. I know I would certainly be okay with this.
I think Nintendo kind of wants to keep their major IPs like Mario and Zelda close to them and just let other people have a go at their lesser IPs because they don't really give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, like second-party developers, though. I mean, like they're technically part of Nintendo.
Yeah.
When do you think about
This
it?
makes slightly less money than our big franchises? Sure, make a game. Make it about whatever you want.
Well, to be fair, Retro did do Donkey Kong Country Returns, which made more money than either Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's some trivia for you.
Well, I guess they just kind of had the base for it, so it's like let's just do this and make it better.
Make it better.
Can't say the same for Team Ninja.
No, that is one thing I'll never be playing again. Is Metroid Other M. I bought it, I played through it, I immediately got rid of it.
Apparently the gameplay was actually, pretty good, but, then
it played fine. It ruined everything that was great about Metroid for me. The combat
I guess after that we're doomed to not ever see another Metroid game, just like F-Zero.
Yeah, well, that F-Zero game on GameCube was pretty amazingly difficult.
Yeah, it was. And it's so weird, because the Miyamoto and all the Nintendo guys thought it was kind of a failure, but it's like one of the best racing games ever made. It's like...
Well, then it was definitely a commercial failure. And it's brutally difficult. I'd say it's probably the hardest
That's
game.
That's a good thing, though, because, it's challenging to the point where, you get around to it. It's like, oh, yeah, this is kind of fun now.
This is a good chance to talk about connections between this and Ocarina of Time gameplay-wise. You may recognize, not this part, but the puzzle. The puzzle that you have to do to get into this temple is very reminiscent of a puzzle you have to do to get into a temple in Ocarina of Time. This is true. Is basically the exact same puzzle as you used to get into Dodongo's cavern. Chucking the bombs over the walls.
Speaking of that, this is one of the first Zelda games that has, a different kind of temple layout. Usually it's like forest, fire, water.
That's true.
This
and
one,
you do it
it's
always in
fire
the same
first.
order.
Yeah.
Well, I think Ocarina of Time introduced that, because The Link to the Past didn't do that. Neither did Zelda 2 or the original Zelda. I think the whole starting with the forest and then fire and then water was basically started with Ocarina of Time. And then did Majora's Mask followed in the same order? It was forest again and then...
Well, swamp.
Yes, swampy forest.
I wouldn't say that's a...
Swampy forest, fiery ice, and then the water temple. Yeah, they all follow that same structure.
Yeah.
Twilight Princess did. Skyward Sword did. Yeah, you're right. That's why people say that the Zelda games are starting to feel like you're just going through the motions.
Yeah. That's why, what was it with that new Zelda game that's released?
A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, where you can essentially hire any item to get through whatever temple you want in order of whatever you want.
Yeah, you still have to do the, because I'm playing it now, you still have to do the first 3 temples in the correct order.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, the other, however many it is, like 7 temples you can do in any order that you please. And the items don't necessarily work within the temples, but they're actually like for the outside and for the Dark World, or Low Rule, or whatever it is. I'll know more as I play more through it.
Well, if you bought the wrong item, then fuck you, you wasted your money.
Well, because you can carry all the items at the same time, it's not like you have to go and swap them out.
Wasn't it 3 at a time?
No, you can carry all of them.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I've still got plenty of room in my inventory, so there's obviously more puzzle items to come. Let's take a moment of appreciation for our good friend the Bottle, someone else who makes a return in every Zelda game and does the exact same thing in every single one.
But he holds the different things.
That's true.
Yeah.
Whoever was around and decided that... I remember the first time I played Ocarina of Time, and you have to use the bottle to get the fish from the lake to get Lord Jabu Jabin's mouth to open. I never worked that out on my own. I needed someone else to it's such a obtuse puzzle. Swim through a little tunnel that you can do thanks to a diving minigame to get a fish to open a bigger fish.
Gotta open them fish.
I will at some point play through Ocarina of Time. It'll be weird going back to it after having finished the 3DS version, which is a far superior game on every level.
Yeah.
I think, personally.
Compared to what?
The original 64 version.
Oh, yeah, I guess. It's pretty much, the same. It just looks better.
That's all it takes. 60 frames a second, better graphics. Everything else is the same.
Is the DS 60? Or 3DS?
Yeah, it's 60 when you haven't got 3D turned on.
Yeah, I guess I didn't notice. Didn't really look that smooth to me.
I thought it moved like butter. This game runs at 60 frames too, most of the
Yeah.
time. Except when you're fighting, and there's lots of explosions on screen, and when there's...
And when you're fighting tornadoes.
Yeah, when you're fighting the giant Octoroks, it gets rather choppy. This is something that they introduced in Skyward Sword that I wish they'd included in this game, actually, when they went back to tweak it. Is when you're about to throw a bomb, it gives you a little line that shows the trajectory it's going to follow.
Yeah.
So you can see where it's going to land and you can plan accordingly. This game is very much throw the item in the hopes that you hit something.
Yeah,
Well,
this part always frustrated me to no end.
It's like, it's not even that it's difficult, it's just kind of touchy.
Sounds like you just need to get good.
I need to get good at the bomb throwing, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Gotta practice. That's why this is here, so you can practice, and you can be like, oh, that's how far the bombs can go. I get it.
Is that what that is? I could have worked that
Yeah.
out outside.
But it forces you to do it. It's a forced tutorial. Except
It
it's not
is.
telling you it's a tutorial.
Yeah, that's true. That's annoying. Look at this. Look at me go. How dumb.
He's gonna miss. Nope. Nope.
I got
Nope.
this.
Oh,
It also, I also don't understand why when the bomb explodes, it doesn't affect the statue, it just falls down.
because
Yeah.
there's,
It just triggers it.
Proof statues.
Because Zelda.
They
Because
made
Zelda.
it antimanium.
Alright, so, thank you, Jess. Thank you, Dylan, for joining me this week. Join me and whoever else is around next week as we explore the first half of Dragon's Roost Cavern. Should be a good
Or
time.
not.
Fun stuff. Or not.
Yeah, I walked in and walked straight back out again. Not having it. Not interested.
We beat the
No.
game. Yay!
So, thank you, and we will see you next time.
Bye.